Welcome to 27 Letters Podcast. I'm sitting here with Lamar Skeete, who's currently incarcerated. As you can see, he's serving a life sentence on a first-degree murder charge. And he and I are no strangers to each other. Matter of fact, there's a letter that he wrote me not too long ago, and I'm going to start off with this letter so people could get an idea of the relationship we have. you know. So he sent me this letter a couple of years ago, and when I got this letter, like I teared up because you know what I mean. It touched me, Like sometimes I wonder if man's really listen and to hear what you have to say in this letter. Me is just a vote of confidence for me to keep doing what I do. And the letter goes, "Dear Landry, blessed is the Most High. I hope all is well with you and your family. I will never forget the talk you had with me before I got transferred to the penitentiary. You told me to kill them with politeness, please and thank yous, referring to the correction officers, parole officers, and other workers I would encounter inside the federal system. In regards to my haters, you told me to kill them with success. At the time, I didn't or couldn't comprehend what you were trying to get across to me. However, now at 29 years old, with all I have experienced, I fully understand. Respect for bestowing that vital knowledge and wisdom on me. While I was spiritually blinded so many years ago, I appreciate the fact that you are still a part of my life today. Blessed love for assisting me in putting together the music video, even on such short notice, spinning around the city to get those shots in, as well as taking precious time out of your personal life to edit the scenes. I pray the Most High blesses you abundantly. May peace be upon your household. Blessed love straight from my heart, fam. We are the children of the scriptures and we will never give up the fight for the culture. Guidance and protection. Blessed is the Most High, always and forever. Sincerely yours, Lamar Skeete. So, you know what I mean? When you wrote me that, fam, I don't know if I told you, that touched me, you know what I mean? That touched me. I appreciate it. So that gives you a little background into me and Lamar's history. So in 2010, after I won my appeal, as you guys know, I won my appeal. I went back to the city jail, the Don jail, and the range that I was put on had Lamar in it. And he was at the beginning of his journey. He had been in there maybe a year, I'm not sure, a year and change, and he was facing life. And he had a lot of questions for me, seeing that I went through the system already. And we were building, we got to talk, and and even me, I had questions for him as far as what's been going on the road. Right before I left, I asked him who to listen to. He told me to listen to Ransom, Joey Jihad, and Stat Bundles, a few other MCs. You know what I mean? Rest in peace, Stat Bundles. But yeah, so he told me, so we had a mutual respect for each other. So how you doing, fam? How's everything? How's your day going?
You already know, head up, chest out. My day's going blessed. Woke up early morning, excited for this interview. You already know, man.
Okay. What'd you chef up today?
I didn't even cook yet. But I just had some noodles, had some Mr. Noodles, drank some water. I didn't really. Yesterday we made some roast beef and rice and some vegetables, some beans.
Okay.
Right.
They say you're chefing in there, eh? Yeah, yo. But let's get right into it, into the questions. Who's your mother? Like, where were you born? Who's your mother, and so on and so forth?
My mother is Valencia Nicole Skeete. I was born in Scarborough General Hospital in 1990, November 30th. I grew up in the western of Toronto. My mom raised me and my brother. I have a younger brother named Javar. We have different fathers. I didn't really know my father growing up. I never met him. I started really communicating with him when I was incarcerated in the Don jail. 19 years old is when I really spoke to him. I spoke to him throughout being in the penitentiary here and there. But yeah, my mom, she did everything by herself, and she raised two boys by herself, paid the rent, made sure that we had a roof over our head, shoes on our feet, clothes on our back, food in our stomach at nighttime. So my respect to moms.
For sure. I know your mom personally because, also after I got out, it was incumbent upon me to support Lamar and other people like himself, like Damien, Littles, Emmanuel say, rest in peace. I went to his trial too. Unfortunately, he passed away before he got his verdict, some medical issues. But yeah, so going to Lamar's trial, that's when I met his mom. So I'm very familiar with his mom. I haven't seen her since then. Anyways, I'm glad that she's doing well. So growing up in that household, who were your male role models around the way?
Really, like, can't really say really male role models. I guess I got attracted to friends who were a little bit older than me in my territory around where I grew up. Like I grew up Runnymede and St. Clair, Jane and Trethewey, Scarlet and Dundas. So by the time I'm 14, venturing off into the city, people who were 17, 18, I used to look up to them, and they weren't really doing the most positive things in the community, right? So I never really had a father to really hold me by the shoulder and say, "Hey, kid, what are you doing?" At the end of the day, I was looking at like, mommy's just a girl. What does she know? But yeah. So there's a lot of negative influences in the community for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So I fully understand that what you're talking about, because we're a product of our environment. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
maybe if mom and dad was together, we might be living in a better neighborhood. You know what I mean? But if she's on her own, this is the best she could do. You know what I mean? So a lot of us come from these broken homes, and we live in these certain neighborhoods which are very high risk, as they call it. So what was your childhood like? Like, you had a regular childhood playing in the neighborhood.
I used to play basketball. I used to love sports, track and field, soccer. I used to always be going to sports in school and extracurricular activities. I went to Raptors ball, and I used to go to the city, different basketball courts, just play basketball with my friends and listen to music. I started getting older, and we started venturing off into the city, 14, 15, 16. That's when things just started getting a little bit darker. I guess the mind frame of a teenager starts changing, because you go out places with your friends, and another group of friends are just gonna try you and your friends, you know what I mean? So it started becoming irregular, I guess. But in the beginning it was very, very regular. I just like listening to music and playing sports and just hanging out.
Yeah, you know what? You mentioned music. What was your introduction to music like?
Introduction to music. I remember when
Yeah.
I was
Who were
in
you
grade.
listening to? What did you get introduced to?
That's what I'm saying. In grade two, I really like R&B music in the beginning. Boys to Men, Usher, Tyrese.
Cool, no?
I didn't want to be a singer, right?
Yeah.
I used to have the song by Boys to Men, "Dear Mama." It's Mama, you
Yeah.
know
I
I love
love you.
you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
On repeat, my mom, yo, even though it was about my mom was like, "Yo, how much time you gonna play the song, kid? Like, come
I
on."
say you annoyed your mom with that. Yeah,
you know, reggae music definitely. My mom always was listening to reggae in the house.
Some dance off.
It's not like more like soft rock reggae.
Oh,
Like,
okay, okay. Some lovers rock.
yeah, some lovers rock, conscious
Okay,
reggae, some Sanchez.
okay, okay. That
And
man there. Garnet Silk on that man there.
exactly. Buju
Okay,
Banton, them on there. And
okay.
as I got older, maybe like grade six, that's when Eminem was popping, and the whole freestyle battles was really going up in America, and obviously Toronto is Americanized, you feel me? So I started falling in love with the art of the freestyle battle and how fast you could come up with a rhyme on the spot and diss the other opposition. So I kind of started freestyle and battle at school, and when I would go hang out with my friends, we would just freestyle for hours. And when I would go to my family's house for holidays, we would just freestyle for hours. Actually, my cousin's pops used to pay us to freestyle. And
Oh,
then
yeah, eh?
what I started doing is I started cheating. I started writing down my rhymes so that when I would go freestyle, I would have already rhymes. But then I realized that I was good at writing rhymes. And I was like, I really like this, you know. So yeah, I still like R&B music till today and reggae music till today. I kind of mastered my own rap style, so put it all together, you know. I guess I'm just a musician, a lyrical musician, you know.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Do you think the writing helps you express yourself? Like, is it therapeutic? Growing up in the environment you grew up where you can, you have so much to draw from.
Definitely. Like I feel like when I'm writing, I'm actually giving you a visual of what I've been through my words and through my rhymes, you know. And when I listen back to what I say, I was like, oh, I really said that and it really rhymed like that. That I'm proud of my rhyme, so I know the listener is seeing what I'm saying, you know, and I'm getting something off of my equilibrium, something that I've been through, or something that my homie been through, or something that I just seen. So especially the people who were there when that happened, or know about that happening, and know exactly what I'm talking about,
They can relate.
they're gonna feel it, and then they're gonna tell somebody who wasn't there, like, yo, this is what he's talking about. Remember that situation? Like, I know he didn't say so and so's name or this, but you know, so it's very extremely therapeutic because we can't just keep everything bottled up. You'll just go crazy like that.
True indeed. So this is like some people go to the therapist and to get things off your chest. You listen to a beat and put some words on it. You know what I mean?
Definitely, but yo, more times I don't even need a beat. I just do a cappella. I just get it right off my chest.
And you know what? That's true because I remember being in the dungeon with you. You came up to me and you're like, yo, I got a verse for you to listen to. And I was kind of slightly distracted. And you even looked at me, you're like, yo, fam, I'm not going to spit this. We're not going to listen, fam. So I'm like, oh, shoot, I better pay attention. Little homie's serious about his art. You know what I mean? So I know from early on, you know what I mean? Writing is a big deal to you, you know? But yeah, I want to touch on school. What was your grades like in school? And did you enjoy school?
I'd say writing, spelling, reading, writing, and spelling, I did very good. Mathematics, I wasn't good.
Yeah, I'm not good at math. I could add and subtract, that's about it. You know what I mean? Stuck as you try to rip me off, I could figure that out. You know what I mean?
You feel me? But
Yeah.
I would say that there was a point where I liked going to school from in grade school. All the way up until grade 8, school was all right. And when I got to high school, I kind of started getting bored of school. So much different classes, science, geography, and I was learning stuff.
What about sports? What about sports in high school and them thing there?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was on the basketball team in grade 9 and 10, but I was on the bench, right? So I guess that's what made me fall off of basketball because I wanted to play on the court. Before I wanted to be a rapper, I actually wanted to go to the NBA. So in grade 10, when I seen that I wasn't going to the NBA, that's when I started taking rap super serious. Like, okay, I got to be the best rapper now because I'm not going to the league. So that's what really made me step up my artistry. But yeah, after I stopped playing basketball is when I kind of fell off my grades because in order to be on a basketball team, you have to keep your grades up. So when I stopped playing basketball, I was like, man, I don't even have to keep my grades up no more. And that's when I was 15, started looking up to the 17 and 18-year-olds. So then eventually I just stopped going to school, you know?
Wow. Okay. Right now, where are you? You in Collins Bay, right?
I'm in Collins Bay, Max.
Okay. How long you been incarcerated now?
I've been incarcerated 12 years, 2 in provincial settings and 10 in the pen.
Okay. 12 years. Okay. So can you explain the reason why you're incarcerated? What is the charge?
My charge is first-degree murder. An unfortunate event happened in the year 2009, and I was arrested in 2010, and my trial was in 2012.
Okay. Like I told you, I was at the trial, and there's a lot of things that took place at the trial, and we're gonna get into that. Where, as far as again, it correlates with him being a poet and an artist who paints picture with words. And do you think you got a fair trial?
Definitely not. Definitely
So
not.
go into that. What did they do that wasn't fair during the trial? In particularly in regards to your lyrics that you wrote and so on and so forth?
And definitely, well, there was two major unfair things that had happened in my trial. The first one is talking about the lyrics. So I was in a Don jail, and as I say, I'm a poet, and I write exactly what I go through or what I see around me. So I had a trilogy called Life from the Don, which touched on specifically the Don jail and what happens in the Don jail and the raw realities within the jail. And I had said one bar on the second part of the trilogy where I was referring to the correctional officers, where I had said, real niggas don't crack to the coppers. When I said coppers, I meant the correctional officers, and these are actual rules within the Don jail. So the Crown Attorney, after pretrial motion, this is in the middle of my trial, so this evidence was never evidence that they were going to use against to persecute me in the trial. So this was evidence that they drawed for in the middle of my trial and said, Your Honor, we would like to only put these words in the case. And
that's for people who don't understand, that's prejudicial at that point. Like these are prejudicial stuff. They have this thing called voir dire, where you have arguments with the jurors not there. So basically the Crown, the prosecutor, and your lawyer have arguments about what this is going to be admissible in trial, and this shouldn't have been admissible because it's prejudicial. You know what I mean? Because you can't explain this thoroughly to the jury without it being biased. You know what I mean? So these things get taken out of context, and that's why, like with these courts, I refer to them as kangaroo courts. You know what I mean? Unless it's the Supreme Court, I really don't respect them at all, because the games that they play is very bush league. You know, it has nothing to do. I mean, you got charged with first degree. First degree is something where there's a conspiracy element to it, and so on and so forth, that you have to prove. They didn't even go into all that. They just want to talk about the lyrics, which tells you how bogus the charge was to begin with. You know what I mean? And before that, before you even got charged with first degree, this particular person who lost their life, you got charged for attempted murder with him previously, right? So you want to go back before?
So let's take it back to 2008. Another unfortunate event happened to the same victim, and when I say unfortunate event, I'm innocent of these events. Up until this day, I proclaim my innocence, so I don't want you to misinterpret what I'm saying to you. But the same victim in this case that I'm in prison for right now, he got shot in 2008, September 2nd. On November 10th, 2008, me and my brother were charged for the attempt murder of this victim. We ended up going to court proceedings, and on December 14th, 2009, my charge was withdrawn. My brother had to go stand trial for 5 days, and his charge was acquitted. So we were proven innocent of the attempt murder.
So basically, this same person who is currently serving time for, he got charged with attempt beforehand and got found not guilty, and his brother got found not guilty, and they actually dropped Lamar's charge before they even went to trial. You know what I mean? And then, what is it? A few months later, unfortunately, he passed away. He gets murdered, and automatically, tunnel vision just has them looking at Lamar and Lamar. You know what I mean? And that's how he got incarcerated. So now, before we move on, I want to talk about the lyrics that you were talking about. I have them here. You know what I mean? And I'm going to try to go through them as fast as I can. And it's called Live from Don Jail, Part 2. And the lyrics to this, if you've been in Don Jail, if you know the environment, you understand fully what he's saying. This is exactly what he's talking about. Once you're around it, you will understand and you can appreciate it, what he's painting. First time in the Don Jail, okay, don't be a fool. Sally Port crack, go to the back and read the rules. This dumb dude tried to come through like he was cool and tough. Holy fuck, he was swimming in a pool of blood. Don Jail, home to some of Toronto's ruthless thugs. Don told you in part one, these mans will get you hurt. Medical alert. Send him to the nurse. Head top all holy like a reverend in church. Welcome to the worst fucking jail in Ontario. You know I'm good though. Hold it down where I go. The gangsters be like, Ammo, spit a verse for real. We want to hear the flow. If he's dissing, we're gonna leave his head spinning like a merry-go. And we can go how many rounds. When the guards do a round, just holler forward and down. From the back or on the deck, every 30 minutes we're expecting. Between half hour, nigga getting his ribs hit. Better be on point when you hear them yelling big six. Maintenance on deck, somebody's getting the lights fixed. But I'm gonna show you what you ought to know. Heart of Toronto, so you know it's multicultural. Caribbeans, Latins, Asians, Somalians, all going through the same ish. Blaze piff and politic. Get it popping if you see a nigga you got a problem with. Or kick off with a nigga on your range over an argument. Now you made a new enemy, thought he was a bless you. STG, short for Security Threat Group. Red stamp on your card, they know who you are. Way to go, way too good, alias gang you represent and your neighborhood from the wrong ends. You know we're going to G-check him. Coppers, you know you got beef with him. Still put him in the bullpen, even though it says keep separate. Young niggas move wild, old heads trying to teach lessons. Old heads like me. He's talking about me. Nah, he's the old head. You're the one teaching lessons. See how this life goes? You know what I mean?
Generation goes on.
Afternoon, all we do is listen to tunes. They argue about which religion is true. Muslim, Christian, or Jew. Send shit through methadone, video, or the visiting room. Stay humble. Some niggas look for hype. Heard this kush on your range. Cause send a bop for the night. Sometimes I get so bored I start playing with the bugs. Need some fresh air and never got yard in a month. Niggas will scar you, throw your face in the bars, punch your heart in your gut. John jail, nigga, we play raw. Slap him in his left ear. He's going here ringing like I gave him a 3-way call. Time to brawl, handle it sooner than later. Got a gambling debt, better pay up. Stand up on the B landing, waiting for the elevator. Range is filled with crackheads and shotters. Real niggas don't crack the coppers, motherfucker. And that's the big highlight there, where they try to make it seem like they took the rhyme out of context. And if you listen carefully, he refers to coppers like a few times. You know, that's what we call the CEOs, coppers. You know what I mean? And on the range, to make things go smoothly, only certain people talk to the CEOs. So you can't just have everybody. Sometimes there's 30 people on the range. You can't have everybody asking the CEO something. If you want something, if you're on the range and you want something, there's 1, 2, you know what I mean? Mans who you go up to, inmates that you go up to and say, yo, can you ask the CEO or the copper for soap or whatever, whatever you need. You know what I mean? And this is what he's talking about, that you just don't crack to the cops. And they took this, told that to the juror and made it seem like you're talking.
Let me just say this one point, and this is very important for the viewer. I would like to say that before the voir dire even happened, my defense counsel told the judge that Lamar is speaking about correctional officers. And the judge said he never heard the word copper referred to as correctional officers. However, if we can prove to him in the voir dire that copper is correctional officers, then he'll leave the evidence out. And as everybody just heard that verse that you read, and I never heard that verse for a minute, you know. So I'm very happy that you read it, because you're the first person to ever really put it on a platform like that.
Salute to your empress. She sent it to me. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And as you see, I said bullpen, I said ranges, I said everything to do with the jail. And that was our whole point of leaving it out. We said, Your Honor, this has nothing to do with the court case. Nothing. This is only going to be bad character evidence on Mr. Skeete. And you know, the judge took it as, you know what? I know that he's not talking about the police at this juncture, but you know what? If the jury hears him talking like that, they're gonna look at him like a bad person. So it's going in regardless. And
So
that's where
that's
we're at
again
today.
prejudicial. And the reason why they're trying to highlight this real niggas don't crack the coppers is because allegedly they're saying allegedly that the victim from his case got murdered because he was a snitch. So they're trying to paint a picture of this culture. So what you need to understand is, as viewers and listeners, if you're not from certain areas, certain neighborhoods, but even if you're not, you've seen the mob movies and so on and so forth, where snitching is not allowed, right? So even coming from a certain neighborhood and you're a snitch, anybody is gonna get you. You know what I mean? So it doesn't say it doesn't mean he did it in any way, shape, or form. So we don't know why this gentleman got murdered, but they're trying to say it's because he was a snitch previously in the last case of the attempt murder. You know what I mean?
That's
So,
what
but
is.
again, coming from the environment we come from, living in certain neighborhoods, like you said, like once you're labeled a snitch, it could happen to you.
That's
You know what I mean? The odds of it happening to you is very high. So that's what they're trying to paint a picture of, saying, oh, you don't like it when people talk to cops, so therefore you didn't like it when this guy snitched on you back on the attempt.
Like basically, it was always an admission that I abided by the code of silence, but it was never an admission that I enforced the code of silence. Understand? So me personally, I never really had a great relationship with the police. I was experiencing police harassment, police brutality.
This comes from the neighborhood we grew up in.
So, but I'm not going to go out and harm somebody if they want to cooperate with the police. I'm not an enforcer in any manner. I just live in the community and I just do my own thing. You feel me? So.
Okay, so now to add on, what is the new evidence that you have that's so, based on what we've been telling you guys, pay attention to what he's going to tell you. There's new evidence that really paints a whole different picture of how this thing might have played out that has nothing to do with Lamar.
Basically, as we just said, that the attempt murder evidence was allowed in my trial. So they told the jury that the victim had testified against me in a attempt murder proceeding, which was not supposed to be in my trial anyway. That was also an argument that my lawyers asked to leave out of the trial, and it was also an argument at my appeal. It actually offends the law by doing so, by allowing that evidence in. And in 2013, 1 year after my trial, somebody else was charged for that exact attempted murder. And that's evidence that the jury at my trial didn't get to hear. So when a jury's sitting down at my trial, they could be saying, he tried to kill him before? Well, yeah, the guy just got off. No, I didn't just get off. I was innocent of that attempted murder. By law, you're not even supposed to be hearing any of that. So 1 year after my trial, which was 2013.
So way after you got convicted, you go into the pen, somebody else on a wiretap basically admitted saying that.
Yeah, exactly. And Toronto police know about this, the system knows about this, and now they're just dragging me out. I've been telling lawyers constantly, like, this is what happened. Like, could you get this introduced? I'm getting brushed off. I'm getting sidetracked. So right now we're in a position where we're definitely trying to get this investigated and this matter brought back up in the Supreme Court of Canada somehow, some way, by the grace of God. And the universe is definitely working in my favor at this juncture. So bless His Most High.
Inshallah. And that's the gist of it, of his case right there. Is basically this story, alleged story of the sequence of events from the attempt murder to the actual murder. The house of cards is done because the attempt was admitted to by somebody else now. So now how can you even say he did it? And on top of that, even when he was charged with the attempt, he was found not guilty. So can we let this innocent man go home already? You know what I mean? Can we do something? Because that's one thing I realized with the system. Because like I said, I won my appeal too. You know what I mean? And when I got convicted, it's all over. I seen your articles in the newspaper. You know what I mean? It was all over the news. But to admit wrong, the system they're very slow to admit they're wrong. And on top of that, they'll just let you out the back door. There's nothing printed out about me being wrongly convicted. You know what I mean? And this is the thing about the system. Like we understand you guys are worried about the people losing faith in the system because you guys make mistakes. But at the end of the day, it's ran by humans. Humans err. They make errors.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And it's costing people years in jail. You know what I mean? So we need to get you out as soon as possible, bro, because you did too much time for nothing. You know what I mean? When you really think about it, you were only out for what, 2 months before you got arrested again?
1 month. Actually.
1 month. So basically, you've been locked up since what?
17 years old.
17. Can you believe this? How old are you now, fam?
31 now.
31. From the age of 17 till now. And he was only out a month. And in between that month, that's when the unfortunate incident happened with the gentleman where he got murdered. And then right away, tunnel vision. Didn't do little to no investigation, obviously. And I went to the trial. It was propaganda. It was nonsense. You know what I mean? Even seeing your lawyer, I remember seeing your lawyers years after I looked at him, he gave me the saddest look ever, yo. I was like, I was just.
They did, right? And like at that juncture in my life, I didn't really understand what systemic racism was. I didn't really understand that your defense counsel could just be leading you along, but they're not really making all the arguments, and really they're friends with the crown attorney, really they're friends with the judge, you know, and there's deals going on. A lot of my lawyers became judges after handling my case, you know.
Conflict of interest everywhere.
And so speaking on my appeal, what had happened was, when I was telling my appeal lawyer, like, somebody else got charged for this attempt murder, and, you know, could you enter it in the court of appeal somehow, some way? He told me no. After that stage, when he became a judge, right after that stage, when I spoke to a next lawyer about the new law, which is called Section 696.1, based on new evidence, the lawyer told me, well, why didn't your appeal lawyer enter this into the appeal courts? He told me that's not his occupation. So I'm actually being lied to by lawyers, literally. So this is what's going on right now in the system, and this is a serious case of systemic racism, like literally in the court system, people making deals behind the scenes to get higher positions to sell me out. That's how political the matter has become.
Listen. When it comes to the citizens or inmates, whatever you want to call it, pretty much the system works like this. We're all more, I wouldn't say myself in particular, because you already know I declare my nationality, you know what I mean? Boom. It's this wordship, you know what I mean? And we're being wordship, and we're being, people are being used as bargaining chips for their own success, for their own personal success in life. You know what I mean? So, but that's basically it. And even right now, I think Meek Mill, Jay-Z, and a few other rappers are trying to stop this whole, because he's not the only person that's gone through this as far as being an artist, an MC, a rapper, a poet whose lyrics has been used against him in court, and then they've been found guilty based on the lyrics. Now, is everybody innocent that raps and talks about certain things? I don't know. You know what I mean? Especially with the drill rappers, it seems like that's the new first 48. These drill rappers are out. they're reckless with their rhymes, you know what I mean? But with that being said, not everybody should be painted with the same brush, you know what I mean?
Like basically, like, to be fair about the argument, and this is what the argument was going to Supreme Court, what my lawyer Lance Beechner wrote to Supreme Court. It all depends on the closeness to the crime, what the accused rhymes. You get what I'm trying to say? So is it close to the scene of the murder? Is it close to the time of the murder?
No.
Is it, did somebody get shot with a 45 caliber in their chest, and the rapper said, I shot him with a 45 caliber at so and so at this, like, you know what I mean? What was the rhyme about?
There's no correlation. Fam.
And in my matter, we just proved it to these viewers that this is all about the Don Jill, and like what I'm being accused of, wrongfully accused as well, did not happen in the Don jail. It happened somewhere in Toronto, on the west side of Toronto, that there was no bullpen, there was no COs, there was none of that. So what are we talking about here, really? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
well, I'm not saying that somebody's not gonna, like, you just can't use rap lyrics against anybody in general. Like, that's not what my argument is, but it's
in your case, you can't. In your case, you can't. Period. Yes, yes, we know there's rappers out there who snitch on themselves and whatever you want to call it, first 48 themselves with their rhymes. You know what I mean? Like I said, with the real rappers, they're crazy out here. With it's like a norm nowadays. But this is Don jail rhymes being taken out of context. You know what I mean? You could have been rhyming about the hardest about Sesame Street, and you might say Big Bird doesn't like to crack the coppers. What you gonna like? What like what are you talking about right now? You gonna use that?
You're trying to use anything, and like
you know,
a lot of people like actually like. So it's not gonna make you stop rapping, but that just made me start going even harder. Like I came to the pen, I dropped mixtape after mixtape after mixtape from the pen because I'm never gonna let that deter me from following my dream. You feel me? I know what they did to me was wrong, and me rapping from the penitentiary made people want to follow my story even more and say, yo, this guy's still going hard. Like they can't stop him. At the end of the day, you can't stop God's plan, you know?
And again, it's therapeutic for you. It's your meditation. You know what I'm saying? It's your gift, you know. Something you discovered because, like you said, you tried writing the rhymes, and you was like, oh damn, I'm good at this. You discovered something about yourself, and people go through life. There's men and women in their 50s and 60s who haven't discovered a gift within themselves, and you have it. You discovered that early on as a teenager. You feel what I'm saying? So you know, much respect. And yes, he's right. I have some of his music, and I did some of the videos. I moonlight as a video director at 1206 Studio. So there's videos that I put together for his music. You know what I mean? You're gonna see the links below. You can see the links below for those videos. You guys check them out. You know what I mean? And even I think somebody wrote up a piece on one of the videos that we did too. So we got recognized for it. You know what I mean? Anyways, let's move on. Being a father now, you're a father. You have a son now. You know what I mean? Since you've been incarcerated, you have a son. What are the things you would like to teach your son? And how old is your son, by the way?
My son's 2 years old. He's 2 years old. He just turned 2 in September, right? September 27th.
So seeing how you grew up without no positive role models, and you're incarcerated, what are the things you would like to teach your son?
You know, I like to teach him like the difference between right and wrong, good and evil, walk on the path of goodness. I like to teach him compassion, forgiveness. I like to teach him that, like, not to follow his friends, like, you know, like, don't think that you're cool following your friends because you see them doing negative things. That's not the right thing to do. I like to also teach him, like, you know, being a man is not all about being strong, you know, it's about being smart. You know, to respect females, you know?
Wisdom, yeah.
Yeah, wisdom, you know, to respect females. Just because that's a female doesn't mean that she doesn't know what's going on. Actually, most females are smarter than men. Listen to what the female has
to say. That's a big fact. That's a big fact, yo. That's a big fact.
Female, right? And like, you know, just basically grow him up into a man and let him know that his dad's always here for him, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of the situation.
And these are the things we were missing as youths. You know what I mean? Somebody, that voice of reason that's going to be like, I see with my two sons, you know what I mean? Like my boys, you know, one is 7 and the other one is 8. Going to be 9 soon. And I got to, you know, reinforce certain things to them. No, son, you don't want to do that. No, son, you don't want to react like that. No, son. And you're doing that from behind bars, you know what I mean? It's trying to do that from behind bars, which is not easy, as you guys know. Like even with the letters I wrote my daughter in this book, 27 letters, you know what I mean? Letters I wrote my daughter, trying to, you know, impart some wisdom on her, you know? So it's not easy doing it from behind bars, and it's not even, and it's a little easier when you're right there with them, you know what I mean? Because they could actually see and touch you, and you could actually set examples for them too, you know what I mean? But what needs to happen for you to gain your appeal, to gain your freedom?
To get my freedom, at this juncture, Right now, I'm definitely registered for Innocence Canada. So Innocence Canada has to do an investigation on these matters, such as, you know, the attempt murder. There's other underlying evidence that could be investigated, such as certain camera evidence is in my case. However serious that they take the investigation, the case has to go to the Ministry of Justice. I would love it if the community supports me. More community support means that, you know, these people in these positions can't ignore my situation further, because they're gonna see so much support behind me that they can't just sweep me under the rug as if they've been sweeping me under the rug. You feel me? So definitely, yeah, an investigation, community support, and God's grace. You feel me?
Yeah, you know what? Lamar's has a social media page that's ran by his Empress, and if you want more information, just contact him. I'm gonna put the handle up. You guys can see it. Contact him for however you can help out. Um, if you want to send letters, is our Collins base, send him letter, you know what I mean? Lamar Skeete, you know what I mean? Just you know, even if it's a card. And it's part of the reason why I'm doing this interview. I got the chance to do this interview is to shed a light on what's going on, and also to let him know that there's people out here who give a damn. You know what I mean? The community does care. Don't think we don't care. We do care. You know what I mean? Maybe some don't. And you know what I mean? The system, I want you to believe that we don't care about you, but we do, fam. We love you. We appreciate you. We honor your presence, fam. You know what I mean? So once you're given a chance at freedom, what are your plans?
My plan is to, you know, enjoy my life. I don't know how old I'm gonna be. It could be next year. It could be in 5 years. It could be in 10 years. Just enjoy life. Stay healthy. Try to leave an impact on generations to come, which I'm trying to even do from inside here. You know, I'm getting up there in age. I'm 31 now. I remember when I was 19. I was saying 31 so old. You're an old man.
Yeah, we were the old heads. Now you the old heads.
You know what I'm saying? So now I'm 31. You know, I got some pains in my back now. You know, my knees don't feel the same. So I'm just trying to eat healthy, eat my vitamins, stay alive. But definitely one of my major plans is actually like to build a museum for the community, you know, and teach people about their heritage and their ancestry. That would be great if I could achieve that while I'm still on planet Earth, and you know, leave my story for the younger generation, let them know that just because we come from these impoverished communities doesn't mean that we can't make something out of our life, and to no matter what we're going through. Like, I'm here in the Max Penitentiary still doing positive things for the community. So I just want other young youths that are going through similar things that I went through. You know, maybe they be only growing up with their mom and they got a little bro, but they're always fighting over the video game in the house and they feel like it's hopeless, but it's not. We're all living, and as long as we're living, God gave us life, we can do something. You feel me?
Yeah,
So,
your purpose-driven life, yo. You know what I mean? That's what we get. That's what we on right now, a purpose-driven life, and you know, being incarcerated like yourself, like I was once. I know, like, change doesn't happen just like that. Just because you're somebody, just it's something you have to want within you. You have to strive for it, and I know from based on talking to you, and just even your PO, how open the PO, how open they were and welcoming for you to do this, tells me how far you've come as far as evolution. I know you're doing a lot of work in there. You know what I mean? I salute you for that. But do you think CSC does enough to facilitate what needs to change for an individual?
um, yes and no. Like, they got their programs. At the end of the day, just like you said, like, if somebody wants to change, they're gonna make the change from within, you know. I did like a half of a program, and like, I can't say I didn't learn anything. I learned stuff from the program that I did do, but I didn't do all the programs based on my appeal. I can't just go and do programs because they're gonna try to use it against me to try to keep me here. So the changes that I've made from 19 to 31 was all from here, right? Just wanting to do better. So individual has to want to do better, but I would say CSC could implement more things with the community, you know, they could, but do they really want to? That's what it is, and that's what we have to fight for. And it's always a fight. It's always a fight. Whether we get it, you don't have to wait 6-9 months to get it. By the time you got it, the people who really needed it, they already got parole. Now they're back on road. Road's going so fast that they didn't get a chance to sit down and get these programs, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe somebody got transferred to a different facility and only this specific facility has that program. You got to get here to get that, but there's too much going on over here to get there. So it's up and down, but at the same time, we're all men. So we all, if you want to learn something, you can go on the phone, type people, go on the internet. There's a lot of different ways than only CSC to get stuff accomplished. You feel me? So we have to keep that in mind as well.
For sure, but it's easier when CSC is involved, right? You know what I mean? So you don't have to go through, the back doors to get things done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you have a studio? Could you record? Stuff like that, recording.
Exactly. See what I'm saying? Basically I got into an incident. The reason why I got maxed, so I got into an incident when I was in medium, and what happened was I was in medium security and I was recording all the time. They had called me out of a private family visit to go back to provincial on a judge's order. Because I was being subpoenaed to court for a whole separate court matter. And by the time I made it back to medium security, they locked down the studio because they said guys were drinking in the studio. Now, mind you, none of those guys who were drinking really even used the studio. So they locked down the studio for like 8 months. So when the studio was locked down, I ended up getting to a situation with somebody else. I would have been in the studio, not even getting into trouble, just recording. But because now the studio was locked down, that opened up a gate for problems to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm getting backed off. So situations like that, yeah, that's definitely different than taking a program and stuff. Like, yeah, whatever they can lock down and take from you and confine you and make you remember that you're in prison, oh yeah, they'll definitely do that. And they don't really care about what situation you're getting into. You're just another paperwork that they're signing. You're just another transfer that they're transferring you. You're just the person who's transferring you is getting overtime for driving you. So they know what they're doing when it comes to those type of things. You get what I'm trying to say? But
Well, at the end of the day, still, but we're not. I don't want to sit here and paint everybody with the same brush. That's saying that everybody that works for CSE.
Oh, definitely not.
We're working against the man because, like I said, even with your PO, Kerry Gatchin, the media people who allowed us to do this. This is part of the change that needs to happen because we need to have these discussions. They need to hear this. They need to hear us talk about these discussions. And then they need to know that the community is behind you. You feel what I'm saying? And from they know that, they have to act accordingly. You know what I mean? Collectively. Whether they like it or not. You know what I mean? And then the COs and POs who are for us, who look out for us, who they call con lovers. Yeah, that's a word actually, con lovers. So those people feel confident enough to say, you know what, I'm taking a stand because we know the community is behind you. Because again, a lot of these people that work in the pen, they come from small town. They got preconceived notions. They watch Boys in the Hood or Men's Society or whatever, you know what I mean, inner city movie out there, and then that's what they're basing their judgment off of everybody in there. You know what I mean? They don't know better. So, this is what we're here to educate everybody. Like, like you have to deal with people on a base to base, you know what I mean? Thing, So yeah, fam. I think it would have been dope. Did you get a chance to be there for the birth of your son?
Unfortunately not, man.
I think that's something. If once they know you're a dedicated father, like I was, like you are, even Dre Blair's, I know he's, he's been doing a lot of work behind the scenes trying to fight for his rights as a father. You know what I mean? And those things are important. You know what I mean? Those things is
even like a situation like that, like if that could be facilitated, like if CSC could find a way, like, okay, I've been receiving PFVs from my significant other, she's pregnant, and they can find a way to facilitate it where they can bring the father to see the birth. Like, that's a moment right there. That's a moment that you shouldn't be taken away from any man, you know what I'm saying? Because God provided more life. You should, but unfortunately, me I didn't get to see the birth of my son. You feel what I'm trying to say? And that really hurt me a lot. And hopefully that's something that we could look to get in the future sooner than later. That'll be a big fight though, you know.
Yeah,
And
but like we said, you know, it's on a case by case basis. If you're showing that you're a dedicated father, which is where being incarcerated, you're pretty much under a microscope, so they'll know, you know what I mean, what you've been up to. So if they know, oh yeah, this Lamar, yeah, he deserves to be there for the end. Just think, as a viewer, as a listener, just think, imagine not being there for the birth of your child, or not being able to be there, and think of how momentous occasion that is. You know what I mean? That's you go through it's just a transformational moment that, you know what I mean? Like, imagine you missed that. Think about it when your child was born, not being able to do that, you know? So that would be something that I'll be happy to see happen for men who are doing positive things, making positive changes, and evolving the right way. And it's also a good look on CSC, you know what I mean? Because this is what rehabilitation is about, you know what I mean?
exactly.
If you could send a message to your younger self, what would it be?
Keep on following your dreams, you know.
Like that younger self where at the age of 14 he started to kind of sway. What would you say to that younger self?
Don't follow your friends, you know. No, it seems like they're cool and you know, it seems like, you know, you're looking up to them, but just really know that you're smarter than them and you're the chosen one. So stay on this positive path, stay on the sports, stay writing your poetry, don't venture off. This is a very dark realm that you're walking down. You know, you're gonna get blinded. You're gonna get blinded. Your spiritual being is gonna become blinded. And you know, you're just looking at their physical being and seeing how much fun people are having, but it's not all about fun and games, you know what I'm saying? Because when you get lost, you get lost. You know what I'm saying? And you don't know if they're come back. Some of my friends right now are older than me. I'm 31. I got some friends that are 32, 34 that they don't even have their high school education. They can't even cook a meal for themselves. They can't even do certain things that is like,
wow. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. You know what I mean? Yeah, you need basic knowledge to survive in this world. You know what I mean? And then we could go from there. But I just got a couple more questions, and we're gonna wrap up. Spiritually, mentally, how has this years affected you? The years in jail, how's it had an impact on you?
I would say like when I first came to the penitentiary from 2012 to maybe 2014, I was spiritually blinded. I was on the downhill. Like I was very lost. I didn't know what was happening to me. And then
what do you mean by that, fam? Like you
I spent a lot of time in the hole. I got into violent situations. You know, I got cut in my neck. I got stabbed I got stabbed in my head, in my back and stuff, my lungs and stuff, right? So when these events were happening to me, I was like, does God love me? Like, why am I keep getting stabbed? Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? When I made it to a medium security, 25 years old, I started reading the Bible, you know, and I started seeing visions of my own life within those scriptures. And I said and that's when I realized that it was just more than a book. Like it was these are just other people's story, but this is what people go through in life. And I got a lot of spiritual elevation after 2015. And my mental started opening up when I got access to the studio in Joyceville. You know, I started getting to record and listen back to my music and go to my cell and like actually listen to 10 songs I did, because I was in the Don jail 2010, 2012, 2014. I never got to record no music, just straight let my pain out in front of homies that remembered my rhymes. I would go and take my rhymes to somebody else, but I never got to sit down and listen to a song by me that I wrote that I could listen to it like, I used to listen to it on the road. So my mental health started opening up and getting a lot more positive, and my spiritual heights just started elevating. I started learning more about the scriptures and the prophets, and started getting a closer connection to God, you know, and who God was to me. So I would say as I got older, I started realizing, like, you know, it's not all about Like people come to the pen and say, yo, you gotta be hard, man. You gotta get taxed, man. Yo. Don't let nobody, you know what I'm saying? It's not all about that. Like, you know, we're even though we're in this building and you know, prison is a mind frame. That's what I realized. Prison is a mind frame.
Definitely. Yo, listen, you ain't got to be locked up to be in prison. There's people out here who are in prison, fam. You know what I mean?
So basically, I had to come out of that mind frame. Like, yeah, I might be confined within these federal walls, but yo, I gotta grow, man. I'm not gonna. This is exactly how society painted me in the court, and I was like, I'm not that person. So why is my mind going to be that person? Like, no, I gotta grow. I gotta come up out of this phase and let people out there know who Lamar is. Because everybody know Ammo, the hard rapper, man. Ammo who did Life from the Don. Ammo, man. He got hard bars, but you know what? I gotta let them know who Lamar is. And you know, spiritual elevation.
Yo, that's unlearning. It's called predictive programming. That the way they try to basically cast. It's called casting spells. You know what I mean? Just like when the news, they be broadcasting, casting spells, fear on people. They do that to individuals. Where even I remember when I was locked up, reading the whatever write up, the paperwork that they had on me. I'm reading about myself, yo, that they wrote about me, and I'm like, this is me? You're talking about me? Like, it's like, who are they talking about? Like, I had to check myself. I was like, no, this can't be me. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know, I had to become that change that I wanted to see. You know what I mean? And people buy into the narrative. They start believing that they're this bad person, but really and truly, it's up to you to accept it, to bring it in and say, yeah, okay, I'm going to take on this role. No, you don't have to. You know what I mean? We're the modern day disciples, yo. It's up to us to make the change, yo. You know what I mean? Yeah, fam. And you know, in 2014, Lamar was got transferred because of that, all that stuff that he was going through, getting stabbed and so on. He got transferred out to Edmonton Max. And a little backstory: me and my empress she has family out in Calgary, so we knew we were gonna be out there. And Calgary is like Edmonton is like 2 hours away from Calgary. So, you know, she did the paperwork because back then I couldn't really go visit the man in the pen because I just came home, and I think there has to be some years go by before I'm able to go visit. So she was going to go visit Lamar. And we went to Edmonton, drove to Edmonton, my empress and my son, Morocco. And we got there and we got denied visit. Yo, I was so upset, yo, you know what I mean? I was mad upset, yo.
Something had happened in the gym that day. What
I'm saying, yo, I was like, yo, you guys, yo, I was so cheese, fam. And on the next note, can you tell them why they call you Ammo so people understand it has nothing to do with no street?
That's very important. My name is Ammo because short form for lyrical ammunition, you know. I could come up with rhymes. I could rap about anything. I could rap about the shoes on my feet. I could rap about a piece of lined paper. I could rap about any subject. So that's what the ammunition is. And then plus, like, I spit that fire, right? Like, it's not only I can rap about it, but when I'm talking about it, I'm going to hit you with some words that you didn't even know could rhyme. And you'd be like, yo, son's fire. Son got bars. Son's fire. Right? So that's what AMMO stands for, lyrical ammunition.
So be clear. This don't try again. Don't take this thing out of context. I'm like, well, why they call him Ammo then if he's innocent? This is why. You know what I'm saying? My last question to you, fam. All right. Remember, I told you were just talking about the picture they're trying to paint of you, of the picture they're trying to paint of us, who we're supposed to be. And I remember growing up, that even before I went to the pen, just being out there in the streets, I never seen myself getting old. You know what I mean? I never seen myself growing old. I always felt like, yo, eventually one or two things is gonna happen. You feel what I'm saying? And one of those two things happened, and I end up in the pen. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm gonna ask you, because now I see myself with my son. With my son, the way it is now, I'm talking to him about when he has children. He's talking about, and he's 9 years old. He's talking about, yeah, you know, when he has a wife, so this is why it's so important. This family dynamic is so important. And this is why it's so important for us to be able to be around our children, because this is stuff, these are things we were missing. There was no grandfathers around when we were growing up that could teach us stuff, let alone fathers. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm thinking about being a grandfather now. You know what I mean? I can see myself getting old and talking to my grandchildren, telling them all about the tales of what I've been through so they could learn how real it is. They don't need to follow anybody. Just like we were young, most of my peers were my role models, but it was like the blind leading the blind. You know what I mean? They were just as blind as me. You know, just like when you were following these guys who were a couple of years older than you, and some of them I knew because they were incarcerated with me when I was locked up early on in 2004, 2002. Some of the guys from your neighborhood, a whole bunch of them, they did a raid, got locked up. And I know these guys. You feel what I'm saying? So I know the role models you grew up around. I know they weren't positive. You feel what I'm saying? So now, as being where you are in your life and in your evolution, do you now see yourself getting old and aging and seeing your grandchildren and so on and so forth?
Definitely. Like same, when I was 19, I never thought I wanted to make it to a higher age. Not that I'm not gonna get older by the year, but I'm not seeing that, when you get old, you start getting older, Definitely now that I'm 31, I wanna live because I have a son. So I'm eating more healthier, I'm working out, I'm doing my cardio, I'm keeping my heart going, right? Because you gotta live to get old. You have to live to get
You
old.
gotta be healthy. You gotta be healthy. I told you I stopped smoking. I haven't smoked in like 5 months, fam. From saying that's part of me just thinking about longevity. I became a vegan, you know what I mean? I be working out and I started jogging. These are the things that I'm pro-life right now. I'm living a pro-life life. You know what I mean? Unlike when I was 18 and whatnot, where it was like nothing but poison in my system, negative energy and so on and so forth. Now, only a chosen few could be around me, fam. Real talk. But listen, it's been blessed talking to you, yo. You know what I mean? The people, again, what would you like to say to them before we sign off? You know what I mean? In regards to how they could help you and so on and so forth.
Thank you everybody for listening.
Oh, hold on. You have a book. Did you release your book yet?
Oh, no, I'm gonna release it just now in February. Hopefully in February. We're doing the prints off right now. The ebook is ready to go. We're just waiting for the
Tell them about the book. Tell them about the book.
Oh yeah, I got a children's book coming just now. It's called Daddy Loves You. It's dedicated to my son, Yezekiel Lamar Skeete. So it's basically about me reaching out to him and just letting him know that I love him. And he's wondering where his daddy is. He sees all the other kids with their dads. It's also, the book rhymes, it's a poetic children's book. So it goes based off of me being a rapper as well. I'm always gonna be rhyming. And I got more children's book coming. I actually got 4 more coming out after this one, so we're gonna release them in a timely fashion.
I'm loving the evolution, brother. You don't even know it. I'm loving it, fam. You know what I mean? I'm loving it.
So I'm looking out for Daddy Loves You. It's coming out very soon. We're just getting the hard copies pressed off right now, and we're posting it up on Instagram just now. It's gonna be coming out on Amazon. To reach out to me, go on Instagram at Lamar Skeete. DM me if you have any questions, if you want to support. My email is freelamarskeeteinfo@gmail.com. Me and wife will get back to you. And thank you for everybody for supporting my story, for listening to what I gotta say. Let's keep a positive energy. Let's just advance with the culture, advance with the community, and let's do positive things for the younger generations, no matter where we are. Blessed is the Most High.
Yo, brother, I love you. I appreciate your presence. I told you before, I'm gonna tell you again. You know what I mean? We have a mutual friend, Quick. He was incarcerated too. Now he's got a wife, he's got a son, and our children. I go over there, spend a couple of days. We hang out. We do it's beautiful, and I want to see you involved in that. I want to see you all here where all the children are chilling and whatnot. You know what I mean?
It's right now, man.
I'm wearing my Free Lamar Skeete shirt. You feel what I'm saying? So if you want yours, just holler at him. You can get one, support. That's another way you can support. I got that on. I'm always rocking it. No, when I have this on, don't even talk to me, eh? Can't test me when I have this on, fam. You know what I mean? Mind that you talk to me. You know what I mean? Shit. But I appreciate it. I want to big up CSE, Kerry Gatchin, the media people. she was phenomenal. And when I got a hold of her, and she was like, you know what I mean? She understood what needed to be done. Your PO, Janice Froats, salute to her. You know what I mean? Like I said, we had some technical difficulties, and she was persistent and showed perseverance, and you know what I mean, getting the thing done. Because if she didn't want it to happen, she could have just used that as an excuse and not letting it happen. So salute,
Exactly.
you know, like you said, you know, there's a lot of change that needs to be made within CSE, and a lot of it has to do with us too. The man, them, you guys, we got to start moving proper. If you want to see changes happen, we got to be the change, fam. We got to start the change, yo. You know what I mean? And just don't give up. Just because they say no one time, don't give up, because they expect you to give up. Because why? Because they know they've been beating you down your whole life. So they feel like, yo, it's easy to defeat you. But you got to let them know, no time. You know what I mean? You're not going to defeat me so easily. You know what I mean? And Lamar Skeete and I live in testament to these things, and others as well. You know what I mean?
Never
Brother,
give up the fight. Never give up the fight.
brother, I
Ever.
want to thank you again. You know what I mean?
Respect to
Straight.
you as well.
So you're in Collins Bay. So even if people want to write you, they could write you there, right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. They can write me here.
What's the
Collins
address?
Bay.
What's the address?
I
What's
think it's 1455 Bath Road. PO Box 580, if I'm not mistaken.
You can look it up online, Collins Bay Institution. You know what I mean? You can write Lamar Skeete. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Again, salute, brother. I love you. And
Love you too, fam.
hopefully, you know what I mean? Inshallah, we see you on road just now. You know what I mean?
Oh, God willing. God willing.
Free Lamar Skeete. You already know. All right. Peace, brother.
Please, man.